आइए मनाते हैं भारत की आजादी का।
Pushkar Singh Dhami, to be the new Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, will take oath of office as the 11th Chief Minister of the state today. New cases of COVID-19 on a decline. 43,071 cases recorded in the past 24 hours. Total active cases declined to 4.85 lakh. Recovery rate climbs to over 97.09%. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar pays homage on the 119th death anniversary of Swami Vivekanand. Says Swami Vivekanand gave the message of peace and equality to the world and who illuminated and inspired everyone's life. Lightning triggers wildfires in British Columbia following the record-breaking heat wave. More than 135 wildfires are active across Western Canada. Aid and rescue are underway. And in sports, Denmark to lock horns with England for a place in the Euro Cup final. Italy to face Spain in another semi-final match. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. Our top story first. BJP leader Pushkar Singh Dhami will take oath as the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand at Raj Bhavan in Dehradun this evening. And thus Uttarakhand will get a third Chief Minister in 4 months. He will be the 11th Chief Minister of the state. Dhami was elected as the leader of BJP Legislature Party in Dehradun last evening. After the Legislative Party meeting, Dhami called upon Governor Baby Rani Maurya to stake claim to form the new government. The change of guard came a day after Tirath Singh Rawat resigned from the post. Born on 16 September 1975 in Pithoragarh district, Pushkar Singh Dhami is a two-time BJP MLA from Khatima constituency in the Kumaon region of the Hill State. He also worked with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. And Pushkar Singh Dhami, the newly appointed Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, in an exclusive interview with Doordarshan said that the state and centre have been coordinating developmental work in Uttarakhand. The Chief Minister further added that developmental work in the state will be taken forward.
उत्तराखंड के अंदर बहुत सारे काम मोदी जी की सरकार लगातार कर रही है, चाहे हम ऑल वेदर रोडों की बात करें, चाहे कर्णप्रयाग ऋषिकेश रेलवे लाइन की बात हो या बागेश्वर रेल लाइन की सर्वे की बात हो, चाहे हमारे जो है भारतमाला प्रोजेक्ट हो। अभी कोरोना के समय में तमाम जगह पर 2-2 हॉस्पिटल ऋषिकेश और हल्द्वानी में बनाए जा रहे हैं। से बहुत सारे काम, चाहे जल जीवन मिशन में हो, हर घर को नल की योजना हो, केंद्र सरकार के द्वारा और हमारे सरकार की 4 साल की योजना में बहुत सारे काम हुए हैं। उन्हीं कामों को आगे बढ़ाना है। कोरोना के कारण से बहुत सारी स्थितियां हमारे सामने बड़ी कठिन खड़ी हो गई हैं। उन सब में जो है कोशिश करेंगे कि हर प्रकार से लोगों को राहत मिले, नौजवान युवाओं को रोजगार मिले, उस दिशा में काम करेंगे। जो पद खाली हैं जल्दी से जल्दी उनको भरेंगे।
Raghavesh Pandey is joining us on phone with more details. Raghavesh, let us know more about the swearing in which will happen this evening. We tell our viewers Raghavesh, am I audible? We tell our viewers that Pushkar Singh Dhami will take oath this evening. You spell out more details to begin with.
Pushkar Singh Dhami will generate his mission the state and in the 11th Chief Minister of the state will take charge today. As per sources, the Chief Minister will take oath with the cabinet coding also, as per sources. And if we talk about challenges in front of new Chief Minister, this is a very big challenge. Employment, development, big challenges. And the main thing is the coordination with senior leaders, because he is younger Chief Minister and just only a senior leader. They are claiming for Chief Minister. But right now, the main challenge is for Pushkar Singh Dhami is development, employment, COVID-19 pandemic measures, and coordination between seniors and young generation. Yeah, it is.
All right, Raghavesh, also he has taken guard from after Tirath Singh Rawat stepped on. Let us know more about, you've told us about the challenges which he will face. Also acquaint our viewers with the political career of Pushkar Singh Dhami till now.
Yeah, Pushkar Singh Dhami started his political career with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. He was still leader in Lucknow University. As the state created in November 2000, he came to Uttarakhand and he associated with Mr. Bhagat Singh Koshari. Right now he is governor of Maharashtra. Earlier he was chief minister in Uttarakhand. Mr. Dhami was associated with Mr. Koshari. He was OC of Mr. Koshari. So you can say that he is the experience of administration when he was associated with chief minister in Uttarakhand. And after that he became state president of Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha, and he has a good organizational capacity. And after that he became MLA. He is two-time MLA from Khatima. Khatima is interior part of Udaipur Nagar. Right, Prachi?
All right, Raghavesh, also Uttarakhand will be getting its third chief minister in a span of 4 months. Also the state goes to polls next year. Put all this together, let us know how can we expect the progress in the state to be from here on, even though Pushkar Singh Dhami says that the developmental agenda will continue.
Yeah, you are right. If you go to history of Uttarakhand politics, in Uttarakhand there is only one chief minister, Mr. Narayan Das Tiwari, who has completed his tenure, 5 year tenure. Excluding him, there are so many chief ministers for the time being. First chief minister was Mr. Nityanand Swamy, and then after 9 months become Mr. Koshari, and then become elected Mr. Dayananda. He completed 5 years, and then Mr. Baguna become chief minister, then Rawat chief minister, and Mr. Vajan Kanduri chief minister, and then he replaced by Mr. Nishank. And after few months, he replaced by Kanduri again came in the power. So you can say that there is instability of political instability was earlier in Uttarakhand. Right now, it is expected that Mr. Dhami will continue, will face the coming election, and he is claiming that with the support of seniors and youngsters or the political workers, he will become in power again. Yeah.
All right, Raghavesh, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent, Raghavesh Pandey, telling us more about the swearing-in ceremony which is to take place in the evening. We'll keep you updated. Up next, we'll get you an update on the COVID situation in the country in its fight against COVID-19. India has been witnessing continuous fall in the active caseload. The country's active caseload declines to 4,85,350. 43,071 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Less than 50,000 daily new cases have been reported since 7 continuous days now. A net decline of 10,183 is witnessed in the last 24 hours, and active cases are now only 1.59% of the country's total positive cases. The daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 52nd consecutive day. 52,299 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. So far, 2,96,58,078 total recoveries have been reported across the country. The recovery rate further has improved to 97.09%. The weekly positivity rate has remained below 5% and is currently at 2.44%. The daily positivity rate stood at 2.34%, which is less than 5% for 27 consecutive days. COVID-19 testing capacity has also been substantially ramped up. 41 crore 82 lakh tests have been conducted so far. A total of 18 lakh 38,490 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours in the country. India's cumulative COVID-19 vaccination coverage has exceeded the 35 crore mark. Over 35 crore 12 lakh 21,000 vaccine doses have been administered through 46 lakh 4,925 sessions. The Union Health Ministry in a statement said that the new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from 21st of June and more than 63,87,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The ministry said over 42,08,000 vaccine doses were administered as the first dose and more than 21,78,000 vaccine doses were given as the second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years on Saturday. Temples in Tamil Nadu will reopen for devotees from tomorrow after the COVID-19 induced closure will end and that extended for the last 2 months. Following this, the work is in progress to clean up the 4 chariot roads around the Rameswaram Ramanatha Swami temple and also the Agni Tirtha beach, the main place of pilgrimage for the devotees. As the nation continues to achieve success in tackling the COVID-19 pandemic, registering a sharp decline in the number of cases reported daily, the weekly average test positivity rate for COVID-19 in Chennai has gone below 1% for the first time since the pandemic struck. The weekly average TPR for June 26 to July 2nd has been registered at 0.99%. The weekly average TPR touched a high of 23.2% during the period of May 10 to 16th. Before that, the weekly average TPR had reached a low of 1.3% in mid-February. Up next, we take you to Tamil Nadu, where a community radio run for the elderly is getting popularity these days. Interestingly, senior citizens of 60 to 98 years of age group are preparing programs for the podcast. How helpful is this radio for the elderly living in Tapovan Ashram in Coimbatore? Our correspondent Girish Nishana is telling us through this special report.
As they rightly say, there is no age limit for learning new things. This was proven by 60 to 98 years old senior citizens in Tamil Nadu who are busy these days in preparing radio programs for their listeners. Dr. Sridhar, a retired All India Radio veteran, has started podcast Tapovani for senior citizens living in Coimbatore's Tapovan Ashram. The radio service proved to be helpful for elderly in fighting the lockdown-triggered boredom.
कोविड के टाइम में सब अपने अपने घर में बंद हो गए थे, इसलिए उनकी मनस्थिति एक प्रकार से डिस्टर्ब हो गया था। प्रोफेसर श्रीधर साहब ने ये जो तपोवाणी रेडियो स्टार्ट किया, इससे सब लोगों को बहुत खुशी हुई और सबको अच्छा लगा। ये 3 महीने से पहले शुरू हुआ, जिसमें कहानियाँ, गाने, भजन और बहुत से धार्मिक कहानियाँ सब सुनाई जा रही हैं। इन सबको देखकर यहाँ के बुजुर्गों को बहुत अच्छा लगा और उनका जो मनस्थिति है और धीरे धीरे कम हो गया है। सब अपने बच्चों से दूर रहते हैं और इस प्रकार के प्रोग्राम के लिए उत्सुक रहते हैं।
Started 3 months ago, this Tapovani radio has now become popular in Tamil Nadu and its surrounding states. Since March, over 85 programs have been uploaded, including songs, hymns and instrumental music. Besides, interviews with doctors, counselors and other high-profile personalities have also been uploaded who share their knowledge and experience. By preparing these programs, the senior citizens entertain themselves as well as many who listen to them on internet around the world. With Bureau Inputs, Girish Nishana's report, DD India.
Whatever you're doing, put your whole mind into it. This is the quote by Swami Vivekananda. The nation pays homage to Swami Vivekananda, the stalwart of Indian spirituality, on his death anniversary. Swami Vivekananda was one of India's greatest spiritual leaders. He inspired the youth of our nation to become better, leading a life of purity and setting an example for the world. Union Home Minister Amit Shah paid tributes to Swami Vivekananda on his death anniversary today. In a tweet, He said, and I quote him, Swami Vivekananda is not just a person but an immortal thought and a prosperous lifestyle. The Home Minister said that Swami Vivekananda considered untouchability and casteism as a major obstacle in nation building. He said that he awakened new consciousness among the youth and inspired them to contribute in building a strong India. He said Swami Vivekananda, synonymous with Indianness, infinite knowledge and energy, paved the way for upliftment and welfare of mankind, along with the nation with his teachings, inspiring thoughts and efforts. Shah said that he brought the philosophy and culture of India to the world. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar also paid tributes to Swami Vivekananda in a tweet. He said, and I quote him, Swami Vivekananda gave message of peace and equality to the world and illuminated and inspired everyone's life. An explosion took place in a chemical plant in Palghar district in Maharashtra last night. The incident took place at Bharat Chemicals in Boisar Tarapur industrial area of Palghar district. 5 workers have been reported injured in the explosion. Fire tenders rushed to the spot and injured were admitted to the hospital. The reasons for the explosion are yet to be known. Israel's military said that its aircraft that was launched as a retaliatory airstrike in the Gaza Strip has shot a suspected Palestinian assailant. Meanwhile, the Palestinian officials also confirmed that the 20-year-old Mohammed Hassan has been killed after being shot by the Israeli military. In Gaza, Israeli jets struck a weapon manufacturing facility and a rocket launcher in response to incendiary balloons set from the Palestinian enclave into Israel. Since a May 21st ceasefire ended 11 days of fierce Israel-Hamas fighting, Palestinians in Gaza have sporadically launched balloons laden with incendiary material across the border, causing fires that have burned fields in Israel. In Canada's British Columbia and Western Alberta, Meteorological Department has warned of lightning strikes that could further trigger wildfires. Around 710,000 lightning strikes were recorded in just 2 days, which is a 10-fold increase from an average of 8,300 from the same period over past 5 years. The lightning has also triggered wildfires across central British Columbia, where 135 fires are active. The fires are expected to burn through 1 lakh hectares, a significantly higher figure than by this point in previous year. The Pacific province of British Columbia has been recovering from the grip of an unprecedented heat wave, which has so far caused 719 confirmed deaths, triple of what would normally occur in the same period. Hurricane Elsa moved rapidly towards Haiti and the Dominican Republic on Saturday after cutting power and toppling trees in the Caribbean island of Barbados and St. Vincent a day earlier. Now, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, Elsa, which strengthened to a hurricane on Friday, was about 175 miles southeast of Dominican island of Isla Beta at 8 a.m. Also, Elsa sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. The southern coast of the island of Hispaniola, which is home to the Dominican Republic and Haiti and Jamaica, were under hurricane warning. Crews working at a collapsed condominium building in Surfside, Florida, were keeping an eye on Elsa in case the winds add to dangers for emergency crews. Up next, we take a quick look at the global updates on COVID-19 from across the world. As per the figures, more than 18.42 crore people worldwide have been affected with COVID-19, while the recovery rate has crossed 16.86 crore. The disease has claimed over 39.87 lakh lives globally. The U.S. continues to remain worst affected with COVID-19, where the number of cases stands above 3.45 crore. The country has lost more than 6.21 lakh lives to COVID-19. Saudi Arabia is scheduled to temporarily suspend the flights to and from the UAE, Ethiopia, Vietnam and Afghanistan and Afghanistan as concerns grow over the spread of new virus variants there. Starting from Sunday, flights will be suspended with these countries, and all arrivals, including citizens and foreigners from these countries, will be subject to institutional quarantine. And back home, a 30-member Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children and Youth Affairs, led by Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, has arrived in Leh for a 3-day visit. The committee will visit various schools in Leh and hold meetings with Union Territories officials. After reorganization of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh is focusing on strengthening education institutions, affiliation to existing schools with CBSE, and rationalization of schools to improve student-teacher ratio and also infrastructure. Ladakh has 22,000 students in 907 government schools and over 29,000 students in 112 private schools. The Union Territories Administration is spending 3.59 lakh rupees to educate each student. Let's get to sports updates now. England thrashed Ukraine in Rome to set up a Euro 2020 semi-final against Denmark. Ukraine barely threatened and England were on their way to a second successive semi-final when Harry Maguire powered home a header from Luke Shaw's free kick seconds after the break. And the outstanding Shaw was the creator once more, 4 minutes later, with a perfect cross that was headed in from 6 yards by Kane. England was so impressive as they simply overpowered Ukraine with substitute Jordan Henderson, getting the fourth when he arrived with perfect timing to head in Mason Mount's corner. England kept their fifth successive clean sheet to maintain their record of not conceding a goal at Euro 2020. They will now meet Denmark in the last 4 at Wembley on Wednesday. Denmark's impressive and emotional Euro 2020 campaign continued as they marched on to the semi-finals courtesy of a victory over Czech Republic in Baku. They led from the 5th minute when Thomas Delaney evaded his marker to head in from a corner. The continual threat on the break, they made it 2-0 just before halftime, with Kasper Dolberg volleying in a superb cross from Joachim Mele to add to the 2 goals he scored against Wales. Their momentum was checked early in the second half as Patrick Schick coolly volleyed in his 5th goal of the tournament, taking him level with Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo in the race for the Golden Boot. But Denmark were able to recompose themselves and dig in to ensure victory and a semi-final at Wembley on Wednesday. Swimmer Manna Patel will compete at this month's Tokyo Olympics in the women's 100 meters backstroke. Manna has earned a universality quota place. Also, she's the 3rd Indian swimmer to get a ticket to Japan.
The Swimming Federation of India has confirmed that female swimmer Manna Patel will compete at this month's Tokyo Olympic Games. Manna will take part in the women's 100-meter backstroke as she has earned a universality quota place. The universality quota allows 1 male and 1 female competitor from a country to participate in the Olympics, provided no other swimmer from the same gender qualifies for the Games or receives a FINA invite based on his or her Olympic selection time, B time. Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju also congratulated Manna Patel. He tweeted, quote, "Backstroke swimmer Manna Patel has become the first female and 3rd Indian swimmer to qualify for Tokyo 2020. I congratulate Manna, who qualified through universality quota. Well done," unquote. The 21-year-old from Gujarat is the 3rd Indian swimmer to get a ticket to Japan. Last month, Srihari Natraj and Sajjan Prakash had cracked the Olympic A qualification mark to earn automatic berths in their respective events. The 21 years old sustained an ankle injury in 2019 and only made a comeback earlier this year. With universality quota, which is not even the B qualifying mark, Manna knows that Olympics for her is more about gaining experience. Sports Desk, TT India.
In Jharkhand, to solidify the efforts of the central government to support the disappearing traditional Chau dance, local artists of Ramgarh district are spreading information about government schemes across remote rural areas. Take a look at this report.
Chau is a major dance tradition in eastern parts of the country. It is prevalent in the tribal belt of the bordering areas of Odisha, Jharkhand and West Bengal. Folk dances are disappearing day by day, but social workers in Ramgarh have been trying to promote folk dance for many years now. Today, with hard work of these social workers, Prime Minister Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao and the skill development program are being promoted via Chau dance in about half a dozen of villages of Ramgarh and border areas of West Bengal, including Pandadi village of Sonahatu block of Ranchi.
ये जो छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं इनमें छऊ नाचने की ललक थी, तो मैंने एक काम किया, मैं 2 युवाओं को प्रेरित किया ताकि वो गांव-गांव जाके छऊ सिखाने लगे, स्कूलों में भी सिखाने लगे। तब फिर प्रधानमंत्री जी का स्वच्छ भारत अभियान, अभी आत्मनिर्भर भारत है, इस पे अब ये प्रधानमंत्री जी के सपना को साकार कर रहे हैं और देश को अच्छा बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
सुभाष भैया आके हम लोग को जुड़ा और इससे जो प्रधानमंत्री का आदेश है इसका हम लोग बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं और जो गांव-गांव जाके इसको नारा दे रहे हैं।
To disseminate awareness about education among children, a few libraries have been opened up in the village itself by Subhashish. Children go by rules and get information about world-class books in these libraries.
छऊ नाच को इतना झारखंड में आगे ले जाने के लिए उत्सुक है कि कहने का नहीं है और चारों तरफ माने आमने सामने जितना भी छऊ नृत्य है सबको देखने के लिए वो महीना में 1-2 बार पहुंच जाते हैं।
Through Chau dance, they are able to promote self-reliant India, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao and the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in remote villages of Jharkhand. Not only this, it is boosting the value of Chau dance. The initiative is also promoting the schemes of the government so that people can be benefited at the grassroots levels as well. With Bureau Inputs, Kumar Alok and KK Tiwari's report from Ramgarh, DD India.
That's it in this edition of the News Hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.